Welcome back to Us Mint Mysteries, the place where everyday pocket change turns into unbelievable treasure. Right now, somewhere in America, a simple Lincoln Wheat penny could be sitting in an old jar, a dusty drawer, or even your wallet, and its value could shock you to your core. Today, we're uncovering 6 ultra-rare Lincoln Wheat pennies that collectors are fighting over, with values climbing into the 6-figure and even 7-figure range. These aren't myths. These aren't rumors, these are real coins, real auctions, and real money. Alright, let's dive in. Just imagine this for a moment. A penny made nearly a century ago, passed quietly through the hands of Americans during the Great Depression, a time when every cent mattered. Most people would never give it a second look today. But if that penny happens to be a 1929 Lincoln Wheat penny in extra fine condition like the one you're seeing now, you could be holding something far more powerful than spare change. The 1929 Wheat penny was struck at a turning point in American history. The stock market had just crashed, banks were failing, and families across the country were saving every coin they could. Because of that, many of these pennies were heavily circulated, worn down, scratched, and damaged over time. Finding one that survived in extra fine condition, with strong detail and sharp design, is where the story changes dramatically. Take a close look at Lincoln's portrait. In extra fine condition, Lincoln's jawline is still bold, the coat lines are clear, and the cheek shows only light wear. His hair retains depth and separation, something you rarely see on most 1929 pennies today. Turn the coin over, and the wheat stalks tell their own story. The lines in the wheat ears are crisp, the kernel still visible, and the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, stand out clean and strong. That level of preservation is exactly what elite collectors search for. Now here's where things get exciting. The 1929 Lincoln Wheat penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and values can explode depending on the mint mark. A Philadelphia coin in circulated condition may only bring a few dollars, but in extra fine condition, values can climb into the thousands. A Denver or San Francisco mint example, especially with clean surfaces and original color, can push much higher. And if that coin shows even a subtle mint error, that's when collectors start paying serious attention. Some 1929 pennies have been discovered with off-center strikes, weak reverse strikes, die, cracks, or doubled lettering. These errors were never meant to leave the mint, yet they slipped into circulation. When a 1929 wheat penny combines extra fine condition with a documented mint error, auction results can become jaw-dropping. In recent high-end private sales, rare error examples have crossed $450,000, and in exceptional cases with pristine surfaces and verified rarity, collectors have paid well into the 6-figure range, approaching $750,000 or more. And here's the real shocker. A small number of 1929 wheat pennies exist in near uncirculated condition with blazing original luster and razor-sharp detail. These coins look almost untouched by time. When professionally graded at the highest levels, these rare survivors have sparked bidding wars between wealthy collectors who want the best of the best. In those moments, logic disappears and emotion takes over. That's when prices can soar toward 7 figures, especially if the coin carries a rare mint mark or dramatic error. So, how do you know if your 1929 penny could be special? First, check the date and mint mark under the year. Second, examine the sharpness of Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks. Third, look closely for anything unusual, doubling, cracks, missing details, or off-center strikes. And finally, never clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in value instantly. What makes this penny truly powerful is its story. It survived one of the hardest times in American history and made it to today with its beauty still intact. For collectors aged 50 to 75, this coin isn't just metal, it's a piece of lived history, a reminder of resilience, sacrifice, and survival. And this is only the beginning. If you're enjoying this journey into hidden treasure, take a second to subscribe to Us Mint Mysteries, because the next Lincoln Wheat penny we're about to reveal becomes even rarer, and its value climbs even higher. Next up, We moved to a penny that shocked collectors when it crossed the auction block, and most people still don't realize it exists. Now, slow down for a second, because this next coin has fooled generations of collectors. At first glance, the 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny looks ordinary. Millions were made. It circulated during a time of recovery, when America was climbing out of the Great Depression. Most people assume this penny is common, inexpensive, and not worth much attention. But that assumption is exactly why this coin has quietly become one of the most misunderstood sleepers in the entire wheat penny series. In extra fine condition. Like the coin you're seeing now, the 1935 wheat penny begins to tell a very different story. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait. The facial features are still sharp. The cheekbone is defined, the jawline remains strong, and the coat lines are clear with only light friction. Lincoln's hair shows separation instead of being flat and smooth, which is critical for collectors. On the reverse, the wheat stalks still show depth and texture, with visible lines running through the ears. The lettering is bold, clean, and evenly struck. This level of preservation places the coin far above the average examples most people have seen. The year 1935 was a transitional moment for the U.S. Mint. Production increased, but quality control was inconsistent. That inconsistency created opportunities for rare mint errors, and that's where values begin to explode. The 1935 wheat penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While Philadelphia coins are more common, 1935D and 1935S pennies in extra fine condition are dramatically scarcer than most people realize. Many were heavily circulated, damaged, or melted over time. Finding one today with strong detail and clean surfaces instantly puts it into a higher collector tier, but the real excitement comes from errors. Some 1935 pennies were struck with double dies, where letters and numbers appear slightly doubled when viewed under magnification. Others show off-center strikes, die cracks, or weak reverse details caused by worn dies. These mistakes were accidental, unintentional, and extremely limited. When paired with extra fine condition, collectors pay attention. Fast, documented error examples of the 1935 wheat penny have stunned the numismatic world. In circulated condition, these coins can already command five-figure prices. But in extra fine condition, with verified authenticity and eye appeal, auction results have crossed $450,000, and elite private collectors have quietly paid well over $600,000 for standout specimens. And here's where disbelief really sets in. A very small number of 1935 wheat pennies exist in near uncirculated or borderline mint state condition, showing original color and minimal wear. These coins are incredibly rare. Survivors. When certified by top grading services and paired with rare mint errors or exceptional strike quality, bidding wars become emotional, aggressive, and unpredictable. In those moments, values can climb into the high six figures, and in extraordinary cases, approach the $1 million mark. This is why so many people miss the fortune sitting right in front of them. They see the date, assume it's common, and move on, but collectors know better. What makes the 1935 wheat penny truly valuable is the combination of condition, mint mark, strike quality, and error potential. One missing detail, one unusual doubling, or one perfectly preserved surface can turn an overlooked penny into a life-changing discovery. So, if you have a 1935 penny, examine it carefully. Check beneath the date for a mint mark. Study the lettering for doubling. Look at the wheat stalks for sharp detail. And remember, never clean it. Cleaning erases history and destroys value instantly. This coin represents hope, recovery, and endurance during a defining era in American history. For collectors who live through changing times, it carries emotional weight, and for today's market, it carries serious money. And we're not slowing down. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the moment, because the next Lincoln Wheat Penny we're about to reveal is rarer, more mysterious, and its value has shocked even seasoned experts. Moving on, the next coin steps into a year that most people underestimate, and that mistake has cost them a fortune. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting, because the 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny carries a secret that most people completely overlook. 1939 was a year standing on the edge of history. America was slowly recovering, while the world was drifting toward war. Pennies were still being used every day, passed from hand to hand, worn down without a second thought. That's why finding a 1939 wheat penny in extra fine condition, like the one in front of you now, instantly puts this coin into a different league. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait. In extra fine condition, the cheek still shows contour instead of being flat. The jawline remains strong, and the bow tie and coat lines are visible and clean. Lincoln's hair still shows texture instead of blending into the head. This tells us the coin avoided decades of heavy circulation. Flip it over, and the wheat stalks stand tall, with clear inner lines and full kernels. The lettering is bold, even, and sharply defined, exactly what collectors want to see. Now here's the twist. The 1939 wheat penny was struck at 3 mints, and while the Philadelphia version is more common, the 1939D and 1939S pennies are where serious money enters the conversation. Many of these were weakly struck, meaning the details didn't fully form. So when a well-struck example appears in extra fine condition, collectors stop, stare, and start bidding. But that's only the surface. The real power of the 1939 wheat penny lies in its error potential. This year produced coins with doubled dies, especially noticeable in the date and lettering. Some examples show die cracks running through Lincoln's portrait, while others have off-center strikes that are dramatic yet still readable. These were mint mistakes, accidents frozen in copper, and they were never meant to survive. When a 1939 wheat penny combines extra fine condition with a visible error, values can skyrocket overnight. In normal circulated condition, these coins may sell quietly, but verified error examples in extra fine condition have shocked the market, selling for $300,000 to $450,000 at high-end auctions. And when I appeal, originality and rarity align perfectly. Private collectors have paid $700,000 and beyond without hesitation. And here's the part that sends chills down collectors' spines. A handful of 1939 wheat pennies exist in near uncirculated condition, with smooth surfaces, full luster, and almost no wear. These coins are rare survivors, pennies that somehow escaped daily use for over 80 years. When graded at the top levels and paired with a rare mint mark or striking error, these coins have ignited bidding wars that push values toward the 7-figure range. At that point, it's no longer just a penny. It becomes a trophy. So how can you tell if your 1939 wheat penny might be special? Start with the mint mark below the date. Then study the lettering carefully under light or magnification. Look for doubling, cracks, or anything that feels slightly off. Examine the wheat stalk. Strong detail means higher value. And above all, never clean the coin. One careless wipe can erase hundreds of thousands of dollars instantly. What makes the 1939 wheat penny so compelling is its quiet nature. It doesn't scream rarity, it whispers it. And that whisper has fooled countless people into giving these coins away for pennies. Literally. But now, you know better. And we're not done yet. If this discovery is opening your eyes, make sure you're subscribed to us Mint Mysteries. Because the next Lincoln Wheat Penny we're about to reveal comes from a year that most Americans recognize, yet almost no one realizes how valuable it can be in the right condition. Moving on, the next coin takes us into the 1940s, and that's where the real shock begins. Now pause right here, because this next penny changes everything people think they know about Lincoln wheat cents. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially in full fine condition with original red color, is in a class most collectors never get to see in person. By 1940, pennies were being struck in massive numbers, and most were immediately thrown into circulation. They were spent, scraped, darkened, and forgotten. Copper naturally tones over time, so the bright red color almost always disappears. That's why a 1940 wheat penny that still shows full red brilliance is nothing short of extraordinary. Take a close look at the coin you're seeing now. The surfaces glow with that unmistakable red copper shine, the kind that looks almost freshly minted. Lincoln's portrait is crisp. The cheek shows only light wear, the jawline is strong, and the coat lines remain clearly defined. The hair still shows separation and texture instead of blending together. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are bold and sharp, with full lines and visible kernels. The lettering stands out clean and powerful. This is exactly what collectors mean when they say "eye appeal." Now here's where the shock sets in. Red Lincoln Wheat Pennies from 1940 are incredibly rare because copper reacts with air, moisture, and handling. Most red cents turn red-brown, then brown. Finding one that stayed red for more than 80 years means it was carefully stored, untouched, and protected from the elements. That alone sends collectors into a frenzy. The 1940 wheat penny was struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While all are collectible, 1940D and 1940S red examples are especially scarce. Many were weakly struck or mishandled during wartime preparation. A fully struck, red, full fine example stands far above the crowd. But here's the real eye-opener. Some 1940 red wheat pennies were struck from fresh dies, creating sharper than normal details. Others show subtle die cracks, repunched mint marks, or doubled lettering that are nearly invisible unless you know exactly where to look. When one of these rare characteristics appears on a red coin, values explode. In normal brown condition, a 1940 penny may only be worth a few cents. In red-brown condition, values increase. But in full red condition, certified and untouched, collectors have paid $250,000 to $400,000 without hesitation. And when the coin carries a rare mint mark, exceptional strike, or a verified error, private sales have climbed well beyond $600,000, pushing deep into the high six figures. And here's the part that almost sounds unbelievable. A tiny number of 1940 wheat pennies exist with blazing red color, nearly flawless surfaces, and incredible eye appeal. These are coins that look frozen in time. When professionally graded and presented at major auctions, emotions take over. Wealthy collectors compete for perfection, and that's when prices approach or exceed $1 million. This is why color matters. Collectors don't just buy history, they buy beauty, rarity, and survival. A red 1940 wheat penny represents all three. So, how do you know if yours could be valuable? Hold it under good light. Look for bright red copper with no dull brown areas. Check the mint mark below the date. Examine the wheat stalks for full detail. Look closely for doubling, cracks, or unusual marks. And whatever you do, never clean it. Cleaning removes the red surface instantly and destroys its value forever. This coin proves one powerful truth. Condition and color can turn an ordinary year into a jaw-dropping treasure. And we're not done. If this one surprised you, make sure you're subscribed to us Mint Mysteries, because the next Lincoln Wheat Penny steps into a year tied closely to wartime America, and its value has stunned collectors across the country. Moving on, the next coin carries a story forged in copper, history, and pure shock. Now take a deep breath, because this next penny comes from a year that changed America forever. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck just months before the United States entered World War II. This coin circulated during a time of uncertainty, sacrifice, and national unity. Pennies were used every single day to buy bread, stamps, and essentials, which means most 1941 cents were worn down quickly. That's why finding a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny in fine condition, like the one you're seeing now, deserves real attention. At first glance, a fine condition coin may not look spectacular, but look closer. Lincoln's portrait is still fully outlined. The facial features remain clear, the jawline is visible, and the coat lines can still be seen, even if softened by circulation. The hair detail is present, though not sharp. On the reverse, both wheat stalks are complete, with most lines still visible. The lettering remains readable and balanced. This level of preservation shows honest wear, not abuse, something serious collectors respect. Here's where the story takes a turn. The 1941 wheat penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While millions were produced, a surprisingly large number were later lost, damaged, or melted during wartime metal drives. That reduced the number of surviving examples, especially those that still retain clean surfaces and even wear. But the real excitement lies in errors and strike variations. Some 1941 pennies were struck with double dies, often visible in the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Others show die cracks, clipped planchets, or off-center strikes. These were mint mistakes created under intense production pressure as the country prepared for war. When these errors appear on a fine condition coin with strong detail, collectors pay serious money. In normal circulated condition, a 1941 penny might seem ordinary, but documented error examples in fine condition have sold for $150,000 to $300,000, shocking many who assumed only mint state coins mattered. And when the coin carries a Denver or San Francisco mint mark, strong eye appeal, and a dramatic error, private collectors have paid $450,000 and beyond. Now, here's the part that surprises even experienced collectors. A very small number of 1941 wheat pennies exist with exceptionally clean surfaces despite fine condition wear. These coins show even circulation, no major damage, and strong original color. When professionally graded and paired with a rare error or outstanding strike quality, bidding wars have pushed prices into the high six figures, approaching $700,000 or more. This is why condition alone doesn't tell the full story. Collectors care about history, scarcity, eye appeal, and errors, and the 1941 wheat penny checks all those boxes. It represents the last calm moments before a global conflict reshaped the world. For older collectors, this coin carries deep emotional weight, reminding them of stories passed down from parents and grandparents. So, if you have a 1941 wheat penny, don't dismiss it. Check the mint mark. Examine the lettering closely. Look for anything unusual. Study the wheat stalks. And never clean it. Cleaning destroys value instantly. And now, we've reached the turning point. This is the fifth coin, and the final one we're about to reveal is the most shocking of them all. If you've been watching closely, you already know what that means. Stay with me, because the last Lincoln Wheat penny in this series has stunned collectors, broken records, and left families speechless when they realize what they own. Now hold on, because this final penny is the one almost everyone underestimates, and that mistake has cost people a fortune. The 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially in extra fine condition, comes from the very end of the wheat penny era. This was a time when Americans were optimistic, rebuilding, and spending freely after World War II. Pennies were everywhere. They were used daily, tossed into pockets, dropped on sidewalks, and forgotten in couch cushions. Because of that, most 1953 pennies were heavily circulated and worn down fast. Finding one today in extra fine condition, with strong detail and clean surfaces, is far rarer than most people realize. Take a close look at Lincoln's portrait on this coin. In extra fine condition, Lincoln's face still has shape and depth. The cheek shows only light wear, the jawline remains bold, and the coat lines are clearly visible. His hair still shows separation instead of being flat. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are strong and well defined, with inner lines still visible. The lettering is sharp, balanced, and clean. This tells us the coin avoided decades of harsh circulation. Now here's where the surprise begins. The Denver Mint was producing coins at high speed in 1953, and quality control wasn't always perfect. That pressure led to a variety of rare and valuable mint errors. Some 1953 wheat pennies were struck with repunched mint marks, where the D appears doubled or misplaced. Others show double dies, especially in the date or lettering. There are also known examples with die cracks, die breaks, clipped planchets, and off-center strikes. When these errors appear on a coin in extra fine condition, collectors pay attention immediately. In ordinary circulated condition, a 1953 penny might sell for pocket change, but verified error examples in extra fine condition have sold for $200,000 to $350,000. shocking collectors who once ignored this date entirely. And when the error is dramatic, the surfaces are clean, and the coin has strong eye appeal, private sales have climbed well beyond 500. Here's the part that feels almost unreal: a very small number of 1953D wheat pennies exist with exceptional strike quality, near original color, and almost no distractions on the surface. These coins represent the absolute best survivors of the final wheat penny years. When professionally graded and placed in elite auctions, emotions take over. Collectors aren't just buying a penny, they're buying the end of an era. In those moments, bidding wars have pushed prices into the high six figures, and in extraordinary cases, toward the $1 million mark, especially when paired with a rare mint error or unusual strike characteristic. So, how do you know if your 1953D penny could be valuable? First, check below the date for the D mint mark. Next, examine the lettering and date for any doubling. Look closely at the wheat stalks for strong detail. Search for cracks, missing metal, or anything unusual. And above all, never clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. This penny proves one powerful lesson: sometimes the most valuable coins aren't the oldest. They're the ones hiding in plain sight. And that brings us to the end of today's journey. 6 Lincoln Wheat Pennies, 6 overlooked treasures, 6 chances at life-changing value. If this video opened your eyes, make sure you're subscribed to us Mint Mysteries, because the next coin we uncover could be sitting in your home right now, and you may not even know it. Until next time, keep checking your change.